What's going on, everybody? Mike Tipton, the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton, hanging out with you here on a Tuesday morning. It is 8 o'clock in the morning on the Mountain Time Zone. 10 o'clock in the morning in the Eastern Time Zone. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, X, TikTok, and of course, we are live on Roku via the National Streaming Sports app. Shout out to my friends over at National Streaming Sports. One, for dealing with my nonsense, and two, for dealing with my nonsense. So thank you so much, National Streaming Sports, for being a part of this, for allowing this platform to be on YouTube. My guy, Tommy Cananza, tuned in over on the YouTube channel. Thank you so much, Tommy, for being a part of today's show, as always. Before we get started, of course, I want to give a shout out to my friends over at RevAutoCarCare.com. RevAutoCarCare.com. Use promo code Tipton33 and save up to 15% on all of your car care needs. We all have that car person in our life, that person who loves their car more than they probably love you. That might be me. RevAutoCarCare.com, promo code Tipton33, save up to 15% on everything that they have over there. I didn't want to do it. I wanted to say they were dead. I wanted to pretend like I did not care. They hurt me so damn much. But me, being the ever optimistic person that I am, got onto USA Today yesterday. And I said to myself, damn, there's a shot, a bigger shot than I thought that there would be. With the win, a 16-point win over the Carolina Panthers. That 16-point win over the Carolina Panthers doubled the playoff chances for the Dallas Cowboys. Never mind the fact that the chance went from 1.2% to 2.2%. It doubled. And that's all that matters to me. It doubled. There is the slimmest of possibilities that somehow, some way, the Dallas Cowboys will be able to make the postseason. How, you may ask? Why am I being so optimistic about this? The reason why is because week 18. That extra week, if we put this back just a few years into the past, if we had moved this back into the day just a couple of years ago where there was only 17 weeks in the NFL season, only 16 games, there would not have been a shot. But if, and again, the caveat, it's a huge caveat of if the Dallas Cowboys can win all the remainder of their games and the Washington Commanders lose the remainder of their games, the Dallas Cowboys can make the playoffs. It seems like an asinine possibility, but that's what we've got looking here. Even with the possibilities here, the Dallas Cowboys would likely take advantage of the collapse that the Commanders would go on. And that would mean they would have to leapfrog over the Rams, who are currently 8-6, the Cardinals, who are 7-7, the Falcons, who are 7-7. Shout out to everyone that's tuned in right now over on the TikTok stream. At Mr. Tipton 33, that's where you can follow all of my stuff at Mr. Tipton 33 on all the various social medias. Thank you, Daniel, for tuning into today's show. Tommy Cananza over on YouTube saying he survived the horrible Thursday night game in one of his leagues thanks to Josh Allen and Devontae Adams. I love that. I lost. So for those that don't know, fantasy football going on right now, I lost in my only fantasy league that I made the playoffs. I lost in that one. I had a bye week as an 8 seed in another fantasy league that I am in. And had I been able to, actually get points in that one, like had that translated over to the actual playoffs, the playoffs that matter in fantasy sports, I would have had the most dominant scoring output in quite some time. However, didn't happen to be that way. Tommy Canazzo saying that the Dallas Cowboys still need help with other teams losing, and that's it, right? Like, they would not just need a monumental collapse from the Washington Commanders, which, seeing the way they've played, I mean, they almost shit the bed against the New Orleans Saints. And that's what I wanted to talk about at this moment was the New Orleans Saints and how it just seems like you have these coaches now who want to go for two at just random ass times, at very random times. And for me, it's like, okay, you can go for two, do this and that. Like your offense wasn't good enough to really get that score. Like if you didn't watch that Washington Commanders and New Orleans Saints game, weird clock time stoppages from the referees, like that last touchdown shouldn't have mattered, shouldn't have counted. Actually, time should have expired on the clock. Referees have a weird time stoppage. They allow the Saints to ultimately go get a touchdown. And then somehow, some way, the Saints say to themselves, let's go try to win this game right now in the second with a 2-point conversion when we haven't been able to really move the ball all game long. And I always get dumped on by people because I'm one of those ones that says, kick the field goal, go to overtime, see what happens. Give your team a shot. Like just give them a shot. Most 2-point conversions that we see now are not successful, especially if you have a bad team like the New Orleans Saints are. You're more than likely not going to succeed on your 2-point conversion. With that being said, just kick the damn field goal. Take it to overtime and actually give your team a chance to win. And I know a lot of people say, like, whenever you kick the field goal, you're showing that you don't have trust in your team or blah, 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 blah. You don't have guts to try to win the game. I'd much rather kick the field goal, go to overtime, and then give my team a chance to rest and have an opportunity to win the damn game. The Washington Commanders should have probably lost that game. Ultimately, they don't, right? So now all the scenarios to help out the Dallas Cowboys, and for those that tuned in on TikTok, there's a whole bunch of you see right there. I appreciate that. The Dallas Cowboys are the team that I will always support, right? Like I shouldn't be that flippant about it, but they will always be the team that I support. So yes, I will try to find any scenario possible where the Dallas Cowboys can make the playoffs. And like I said, that 1.2% chance that they had, increasing to 2.2% chance now, that makes me excited as a Cowboys fan. That means I can continue to watch the remainder of the season. But what really sucks in the purgatory that it takes of being a Dallas Cowboys fan is the way they started this season. We legitimately could have had a shot at a top pick. And to me, Tommy Cananza, we were talking about that. We were talking about Alshon Gentry, and then we were also talking about the possibility of the Dallas Cowboys possibly getting someone like a Travis Hunter type. Well, now they aren't bad enough to draft that high. Now they aren't bad enough to get one of those top 5 picks. Hell, they'll probably be a fringe top 10 pick team if they win out, and even if they make the playoffs. And this is what I was going to get to. If there is some miracle in hell that the Dallas Cowboys make the playoffs, there is no guarantee that they'll do anything. And as a matter of fact, if you've been watching at all this year, if you've been watching any of the football this year that the Dallas Cowboys have played, you would realize they got no shot in hell. Again, I don't like talking in absolutes, but I will talk in absolutes when it comes to this team and what they would be able to do if there is some miracle that they make the playoffs. Short of a catastrophe where all of the other teams in the NFL are just evaporated, there is no possibility of the Dallas Cowboys winning a Super Bowl. And then you think of the nightmare scenario where the Dallas Cowboys have the possibility of continuing to, I guess, salvage this season which sounds just blasphemous given what we thought this season was going to be as Dallas Cowboys fans, as people that are out there that love the Dallas Cowboys. There was no way in hell that you came into this season as a Cowboys fan, or even people that didn't like the Dallas Cowboys, and thought to yourself, this team is going to miss the playoffs. This team is going to be as bad as they've been. And this team is going to find a way to somehow survive and salvage the season, given everything we saw at the beginning of the season, given everything we saw at the midway point of the season, just the disappointment after disappointment after disappointment that the Dallas Cowboys have been. Every single Cowboys fan was out there saying, it's the end for Mike McCarthy. And if they find a way, and I hadn't thought of this until yesterday, Tommy, so thank you so much for ruining my day. If they find a way to somehow finish this season in a respectable manner, there is the legitimate possibility that we can see the Dallas Cowboys continue the Mike McCarthy experiment. I feel like that would be a disservice to the Dallas Cowboys fans. I feel like that would be a disservice to the Dallas Cowboys players, because maybe I can't say it this way, but it doesn't seem like they're playing for Mike McCarthy. It doesn't seem like they have any legitimate love towards Mike McCarthy, that they actually give a damn about Mike McCarthy. And that was kind of apparent at the beginning of the season whenever you heard Micah Parsons say he can go coach wherever the hell he wants after this. It's the players on the team that I want to play for, right? Like the Zach Martins, who might be at the end of his rope, retiring, freeing up some cap space for the Dallas Cowboys. That might be what the Dallas Cowboys have to try to navigate now, is how do we replace a Zach Martin? What is this offensive line going to be? Tommy Cananza saying, nope, nuh-uh, hell no, whenever it comes to the possibility of the Dallas Cowboys keeping Mike McCarthy. And I agree with you. I believe that this season he has done everything he can to lose his job. But there is also the crazy enough possibility that with Mike McCarthy and the Dallas Cowboys playing as well as they have, like the defense is playing well, right? That they just allow Mike McCarthy to be the guy going into next year. Or what I think would be a worst case scenario, they give the head coaching position to Mike Zimmer, which, again, I can really see a possibility of the Dallas Cowboys saying, Mike Zimmer turned the defense around. Like, look what happens whenever they get a little more healthy. They did this, missing DeMarcus Lawrence, missing DeMarvion Overshown, missing Trayvon Diggs. I can see a scenario where the Dallas Cowboys say Mike Zimmer is the guy, or they bring back Mike McCarthy. I don't want that type of scenario. I don't want to see a way where the Dallas Cowboys go that route. I'd love to see the Dallas Cowboys sign Ben Johnson. I think Ben Johnson would be the guy, right? Like that's who I want to see in Dallas. But with as crazy as Jerry Jones is, I see my guy 915 Luis 77 is tuned in over on TikTok. Huge 49ers fan. Both the Cowboys and the 49ers, very disappointing seasons this year for obvious, I mean, there's different reasons, but both windows to me seem to be on the closing end. At least with the Dallas Cowboys, I can't even say that. Like both teams to me, there just seems to be so many questions. And the Dallas Cowboys' main question is going to be, what do they do with the head coaching position? Now, the head coaching position for the Dallas Cowboys to me is going to be like it has to be one of those positions. Like it's a coveted position, right? Like you're the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. But we also know that the Casper77 on TikTok saying, can I get a close-up of the green bottle behind me? That is the little bit of the bubbly bottle from Chris Jericho whenever he won the initial championship, the inaugural championship in AEW. I'm a huge, huge wrestling nerd fan. You can kind of see all the little things behind me. I've got or you can't see it because the Christmas tree is blocking it, but I normally have a championship belt back there. Yeah. I'm being asked if I'm not live today. I am live today. Of course I'm live today. Why wouldn't I be? Okay, so I look at the Dallas Cowboys position. I have to think to myself, that is a very coveted position. that has to be a position where people think to themselves, you're the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, but then you got to look at like how you're hamstrung with salary cap. I had mentioned it a little bit earlier about the Zach Martin might be coming off the books for the Dallas Cowboys. But is that going to be enough? What do you have in Dallas to entice people to go over? Whenever you look at the San Francisco 49ers, you have a team that has a head coach that has been in the Super Bowl twice, that even as an offensive coordinator was in the Super Bowl. Sorry, it's like housekeeping stuff, right? Like I've got so many different things going on right now that it's one of those hard things to try to keep in check. But there's so much that you have with the San Francisco 49ers. You say, okay, we got a young quarterback. He's okay. Christian McCaffrey, if he's healthy, if Mitchell is healthy, if Brandon Ayuk is healthy, if Debo, like there's a ton of talent that you have there on that team. When you look at the Dallas Cowboys, you sit there and you say to yourself, okay, this team, you have a quarterback in Dak Prescott who's making too much. Like all of us can agree Dak Prescott making more than what Dak Prescott should. Brock Purdy's probably going to get up around the 50 million mark, which is going to be 10 million less than what Dak Prescott's making right now, right? So that gives you a little bit more space to sign free agents. You look at the running back position, maybe Rico Dowdle. You look at the wide receiver position, maybe CeeDee Lamb. Do you currently take George Kittle over Jake Ferguson over in Dallas? And the answer is probably going to be yes, right? There's more upside to Ferguson, I think, than what they have right now. I think Ferguson being the younger player, that's going to be the guy that you kind of want to have as like your main dude. Medusa Design saying, hey, I found you. Hey boo, hey boo, hey. But which one of those teams has a brighter future? Is it going to be the Dallas Cowboys? Is it the San Francisco 49ers? I'm glad that the Dallas Cowboys and the 49ers are not in the position that the Jacksonville Jaguars are in right now, that the Tennessee Titans and all of them are in right now. But they seem to be in what feels to me like a worse position, like being in that purgatory, being in that middle class, basically. And think of it like you know, and this isn't me being on my soapbox talking about life and politics, but think about the middle class in real life, how that's been squozing so damn deeply that it's one of those things that you can't really rely on anymore. That's what the Dallas Cowboys, the 49ers, hell, I would say maybe the Houston Texans. I'm looking at them as like a team that now they've got to pay the quarterback. How long before CJ Stroud holds out? Because you know that's eventually going to happen. I look at the Cincinnati Bengals the same way. The salary cap is going to be the thing that winds up decapitating these teams, taking their legs out from under them as well, and really hurting their ability to be able to possibly capitalize on their window, right? You have to look at teams like the Kansas City Chiefs that seem to just find a way to navigate through the muddy waters that are the salary cap. How? Right? Like we look at this team, and again, we've seen a complete 180 from what the Kansas City Chiefs were to what they are now, where they were that high-powered, fast-paced offensive team where you knew you could beat them if you just played ball control. Now the Kansas City Chiefs are, I still believe, somehow that high-powered team when they want to be, when they need to be, because we see the way that they move the ball down the field just anytime they want in order to win a game. But now they're also a team that can control you on defense. They found a way to navigate the huge albatross contract that Patrick Mahomes has, and they still find a way to succeed. You get rid of Tyreek Hill, and everyone says your window's done. And after you trade away Tyreek Hill, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, what do? You go out and win 2 damn Super Bowls. That's the difference between a team that's ran well and a team that's ran great. the San Francisco 49ers are going to be that team that winds up having pieces plucked away from them, the way that the Kansas City Chiefs, the way that the Detroit Lions and all these other teams are going to be as well. How do you navigate through that? I honestly believe the trade for Christian McCaffrey, although it was a super sexy trade, wasn't a good trade for the San Francisco 49ers. I wouldn't have made that trade. The only way that trade gives you any type of value is if Christian McCaffrey helps you win the Super Bowl. That's not going to happen now. Even with a fully healthy lineup for the 49ers, I don't see them better than the Eagles. I don't see them better than the Lions. And the way that's looking right now, I don't think they're better than Minnesota or Green Bay, right? Like earlier this season, we could have easily said San Francisco, maybe even Philadelphia as like the best team in the NFC. Man, if they're even in the top 7 as of now, even going into next year, I'd be very surprised by that. And I say the same thing with the Dallas Cowboys, right? The beginning of the season, love them or hate them, the aspirations for the Dallas Cowboys were make a Super Bowl, hopefully win a Super Bowl, right? Those were the aspirations. Nobody other than me came into the season saying, I don't think this team's a playoff team. I saw how much the Cowboys lost, and I said it right there back in September on Fire and Ice. This team is not good enough to make the playoffs. I didn't think it was going to go like this. I didn't think they were going to be this bad, this bipolar, this upsetting, this frustrating. I didn't think that they would get blown out by teams multiple times in the season. But I just knew, just looking at the way the roster was constructed, that it wasn't a team that was going to win a Super Bowl. Just flatly knew that. Yolanda Johnson saying she also believed that about the Dallas Cowboys. Medusa Designs over on Facebook saying, just saw Patrick Mahomes suffered a high ankle sprain. Would they be the same team without him? What's your opinion? That to me is going to be a huge thing for Kansas City. How do they navigate that injury to Patrick Mahomes? And luckily they have Pacheco back. Yesterday they got rid of former first-round draft pick Clyde Edwards-Helaire. They were able to let him go just flat out, don't need you no more, guy. This team can still win games. Let me look at what their schedule is. I gotta see what their schedule is. And based off of what their schedule is, it's going to be tough. But I also don't feel like they need to win home field advantage. I really don't feel like they need to win home field advantage. We saw this team last year, the Kansas City Chiefs, go on the road in Buffalo and beat the Buffalo Bills, right? Like this is a team that can win on the road. They proved it last year. I'd like to see them ultimately, get the number 1 seed. But if they wind up having the same record as the Bills, well, the Bills beat them head-to-head. The Bills have the tiebreaker. The Bills will be number 1. Everything goes through Buffalo. Kansas City will host a playoff game, maybe 2 playoff games. But right now, it's just focus on getting Patrick Mahomes healthy. The Kansas City Chiefs have the Texans, the Steelers, and the Broncos coming up. That's the way that the Kansas City Chiefs end the season. The Steelers, the Texans, and the Broncos. All of those teams are good teams. All of those teams can possibly beat the Kansas City Chiefs. The one thing that really helps out the Kansas City Chiefs is against all those teams, they have the better defense. Can Carson Wentz get you enough? Can the Kansas City Chiefs continue to score 17 points? That's all they need to do is score 17 points. And their defense can hold those teams back. We saw how Pittsburgh was manhandled by Philadelphia. Pressure on the quarterback. Philadelphia's secondary is nowhere near as good as Kansas City's secondary. Philadelphia's defense, to me, it's a good defense. It's not as great as the Kansas City Chiefs defense is. The Texans have an issue, again, protecting C.J. Stroud. He's been hit a lot this year. This is a team that still trying to find what their actual identity is. The one thing that helps them out is their ability to run the ball. You cannot run the ball against the Kansas City Chiefs. I can feasibly see a situation here where even with Carson Wentz as the quarterback for Kansas City, they can still go 3-0. I would not be surprised if I saw that. Conversely, I also wouldn't be surprised if they went 0-3. That's just how this team has been, right? They have a bad offensive line. Pittsburgh's got a good defense. They have a bad offensive line. Houston has a pretty good defense. I know that they have some injuries that they're trying to navigate right now as well. So what version of the Houston defense are you going to get? Denver, I think that's going to be the wild card game here. If you're Kansas City, are you actually playing Kelsey and Worthy and all your players in that game if it doesn't really matter, right? Now, if they go into Denver, I believe that game's in Denver. Yeah, if they go into Denver and there's actually something on the line, then yeah, you got to have your guys in that game. Hell, maybe even bring out Mahomes. We'll see how he's doing in a couple of weeks. And you got to try to go out and win that game if there's something on the line for Kansas City at that point in time. I just don't see why Kansas City would do it. Hell, if I'm Kansas City right now, what I do is I rest my starters. I don't care if I end the season at 13-4 with a 3-game losing streak. You're still the Kansas City Chiefs. You're more than likely going to finish the season with the number 2 seed. I guess you would have to beat Pittsburgh. Yeah, you'd have to beat Pittsburgh in order to get the number 2 seed. So maybe that's the game that you play everyone in. You rest everyone 2 out of 3, and you try to go about it that way. But again, Kansas City proved last year that they can win on the road. That was the knock on the Kansas City Chiefs is they don't do it on the road. They can't do it on the road. Well, Patrick Mahomes last year went on the road, beat Buffalo, makes it to the Super Bowl, wins the Super Bowl. Like they just do what they do. This team is always going to be able to just win whenever they need to, just simply win. And that's such a that's such a wonderful thing to have, is that mindset of, yeah, we can win. I don't think any one of us saw Patrick Mahomes go down and thought to yourselves, oh, that's the end of the season for the Chiefs, because you knew that they were going to make the playoffs, and he'll more than likely be back week 1 of the playoffs. What version of Patrick Mahomes are they going to get? Is this where their luck ran out, right? Tommy and I talking about it last week. Not only are they lucky, but they're good. And that's such a fantastic combination to have. Tyler Jones, yeah, buddy, you don't know ball. I get paid to talk about it. What do you do? There we go. Thank you, Tyler. Love the feedback. If you're going to say something, at least have value to it. How do I not know ball? Like say that, as opposed to, yeah, buddy, you don't know ball. Jesus Christ, what an idiot. This dude would love to be me, but that's the way that it goes. However, but again, the Kansas City Chiefs, what can they do, right? Like, how can they navigate through this Patrick Mahomes injury? They're a team that runs the ball, check downs, right? Like, they're not moving the ball down the field the way that they used to a couple of years back. Can Carson Wentz come in and just simply do that? That's ultimately going to be the question. All right, everybody, whenever we come back here on the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton, we are going to talk some more about the playoff chances that other teams have. Not the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, I know they have their slight less than 2% or slightly over 2% chance of making it to the playoffs. That's not going to happen. They would need so much help to do it. Let's talk about the teams that actually have real possibilities of making it to the playoffs and what teams can really surprise other teams in the playoffs whenever it starts. We'll be right back here on The Tipping Point with Mike Tipton. What's up, everybody? I'm super excited to try it after all the beers have been put into the little fridge. Now it's time to try them out. We have the Fistmas beer. Merry Fistmas for those of you that celebrate Fistmas. This is coming to us from our friends over in Chicago, Illinois. This is from Revolution Brewing, and it is a red ale, 6.5% ABV. Look at the beauty on this can. Absolutely amazing, amazing artwork. Oh, hello. I'm Mike Tipton. I want to tell you about the perfect gift this holiday season. The Balber's dual-sided ergonomic design allows it to go both ways, meaning you can shave in either direction. The slim shape is optimal for trimming those hard-to-reach areas. It's also nut-safe, providing a 30-degree pivoting blade that is engineered for nut keeping. Say goodbye to the cuts, nicks, pulling, tugging, and snaps. If you're looking for stamina, it's got exactly what you need. With its long-lasting lithium rechargeable battery, it can last up to 150 minutes on one charge. The Balber is IPX7 waterproof, which means it can have fun, dry, or wet. Visit www.myhappynuts.com/MikeTipton to give your man the perfect package for his package. James Montoya, thank you so much for joining us here. What is it that you want to talk about? There, you got some pretty cool stuff out here.
We do. So, the Sun Bowl, it's a cherished tradition for El Pasoans and our families and folks from out of town. But we know and we recognize that some people partake in this celebration with some adult beverages. And so we just want to make sure that people drink responsibly and that they get home safe from the Sun Bowl and on New Year's Eve. And so right now, the District Attorney's Office under DA Bill Hicks secured a grant from TxDOT, the Texas Department of Transportation, for free Uber rides on New Year's Eve, starting on December 31st, for people to get home. And so there's going to be 800 free Uber rides up to $20. They're $20 vouchers. You input it in your phone, and you'll get that ride. And they start at 10 a.m. On the day of the game. And hopefully people use them up fairly quickly. But they will last up until 5 a.m. on New Year's Day. So you don't have to be at the game to use them. You can use them if you're out and about on New Year's Eve. We just really want people to get home safely. So it's a QR code that you have to file or scan from your phone. It'll be available on the District Attorney's social media page, which is EP District Attorney's Office. It'll also be available on the Sun Bowl Association, the website. And so you input the QR code and you get the voucher. Right. It's not a crime to have a good time. It's not a crime to drink alcohol. But when you make a choice to get behind the wheel after you've had too much, then it becomes an issue. And I hate to see it, especially during the holidays. People have lost their loved ones during this time. 10 years ago on Christmas Eve, we lost 3 young adults forever because of the choices of one person. And I know that people don't set out to kill someone that day, but it happens. And this crime is 100% preventable. People just need to make a plan. If you're going out and you're having a good time and then you're trying to figure out a way to get home, by then it's too late. You need to make a plan before you head out how you're getting home that night.
Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. It's an absolute pleasure to serve as your president. I know that our community is going to come out in full force. And on the ACC side, we have Louisville.
They're playing and representing the Pac-12, even though they're in the Big Ten. To make it short, University of Washington.
All right, y'all. Welcome back to the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton right here on X, on YouTube, on Facebook, now on TikTok for the first time in, I think, forever that I've ever been on TikTok doing a live stream. And, of course, on Roku via National Streaming Sports app. I was told by Ty Johnson that I didn't know ball, but the one thing I do know is nuts. And I know how to make my nuts the happiest they can possibly be, and that is with Happy Nuts Comfort Cream. Look, you put that on. You don't got to worry about the chafe. You ain't got to worry about the nasty grundle area being just nasty and gross. Also, one of my favorite products, the Balber. Male grooming. Guys, you got to take care of yourselves, not just for you, but for that special lady in your life. myhappynuts.com/Mike Tipton. That's where you need to go to make sure that your nuts are as happy as my nuts. I might not know ball, but I know balls. Wait, phrasing? Ah, crap. I'm probably going to get fired from my friends over at National Streaming Sports. Shout out National Streaming Sports for allowing me to do all the crazy nonsense and bull crap that I do. I appreciate it so much. Tommy Cananza calling me the Dream Killer. Big Sexy the Giant Killer. Kevin Nash. Maybe that's who I am. I got the Kevin Nash there we go. Picture down in the back, right over there. Augustine Pimentel saying, I just tuned in for this? Jesus Christ. I do feel bad for the people that just tuned in. I saw an influx of people on TikTok, and then they immediately left as I'm talking about my nuts being the happiest nuts they can be with myhappynuts.com/Mike Tipton. Will Heron saying, look up the Baldo. That's right. Hey, let's see. I had hair the majority of the last 2.5 years. No one talks about that. I go back, I shave my head, and all of a sudden I'm a baldy again. Medusa Designs, loving the promo there for Happy Nuts. Once again, take care of yourself, guys. That's all that matters. Take care of yourself. That's the important thing that you got to do here. Okay. I had mentioned it, talking about the slim but tiny playoff chances that the Dallas Cowboys had. And the only reason why I wanted to talk about that is because I knew it would piss people off. And let's face it, that's what I love doing the best. There are a handful of teams that are out of the playoff picture themselves. And we're talking about the Raiders, the Patriots, the Titans, the Jags, the Browns, and the Jets. Yes, Aaron Rodgers, unable to save the life of the Jets. What was surprising about that, though, is between all of those teams, there are 6 of them. Between all 6 of those teams, they are separated by 2 damn wins. The Jets are the best of the worst in the AFC with a 4-10 record. And the Raiders are the worst in the AFC with a 2-12 record. Then you go over to the NFC, and you have the Giants are out, the Panthers are out, and the Bears are out. Teams that still have possibilities of getting in, of course, the Dallas Cowboys somehow on this list. The Falcons, the 49ers, the Saints, the Cardinals, and the Seahawks. Those are ones that have real legitimate opportunities of making it into the playoffs. I don't know if I would say they're legit, but they've got a shot, right? How the 5-9 New Orleans Saints have a shot of being in the playoffs is just mind-blowing to me. It shows you how top-heavy the NFC is whenever you have the Lions, the Vikings, and the Eagles all at 12-2, and then just a pile of crap under all that. Will Heron saying the reason that I am a baldo, or a baldo is a device that you can put on your testicles to create a dildo with. Learn new things every day. Probably shouldn't have read that comment on a national streaming sports thing, but hey, it's nice to know, like I'm learning. That's what all this is about, is for me to learn. I finally learned what a baldo is. My question to you, Will, is how was that information so readily available to you? Jesus, my guy. Tommy Cananza saying, that's what we do here, people. We talk happy nuts. You're damn right that's what we do. I was thinking of doing like the whole commercial, like doing the Sam Elliott voice of like, well, let me tell you about my happy nuts. And what makes my nuts so happy is making sure that they're nice and well taken care of and groomed. Happy Nuts. HappyNuts.com. Augustine Pimentel saying, well, someone is having an interesting holiday. Hey, man, that's all that matters. I will never judge. I will not judge. Some things that I do aren't the same things other people do. Some people like to helicopter. Other people just like to fly. I'm a helicopter. It's what I do best. Just that's what I do. Nice, slow, go my own pace. Helicoptering it up. Will Heron saying, my man, that's my dude right there as well. Again, I'm going to need the backstory here, Will, on how you know what a Baldo is. Like, it's just got to be something. Like I got to know how you know, right? Like people ask me, Tip, how do you know what an Alaska pipeline is? Probably shouldn't have said that. You saw the regret in my eyes. If you don't know what that is, do not search it up. It's the same, close to the same as Alabama Hot Pocket. Don't look them up. Just don't do it, okay? Take my advice, listen to my warnings, and do not look it up. You will get multiple viruses on your phone or computer. Tommy Canazza saying, I wonder if the ball burr works on my head. My real head, people. Get your mind out of the gutter. I was thinking the same thing, man. I trimmed the beard. It was getting long, and you can tell, like, I got the real curly, just gross beard hair, and it grows out and curly, and like it's just like a super weird beard. And whenever I trimmed it, I thought to myself, I wonder if I can use the ball burr on my beard. But I also don't want to use something that I used in my general genital area on my face, no matter how clean it may be. You guys will come to learn that I am a bit of a germaphobe, and that's just like, I don't care if they're my germs, I'm still grossed out by them. I'm not like the guy from Scary Movie that's like, my germs, and sticks like the hand into the thing. Like, that's not me, right? I'm also super weird with, like, I don't like eating in front of people. It's tough for me to like drink in front of people, but I had to because I woke up with a ton of congestion and I needed my voice to sound halfway decent. It's the only way I make money, people. I have to sound like this. Oh, Tanya Cananza saying, just buy two, problem solved. I like the way you think. You know how you can buy two? By visiting myhappynuts.com/Mike Tipton, or go to myhappynuts.com and use promo code Mike Tipton, all one word. I see my dude from the Air Force, Jesse Carter, tuned in over here on TikTok. Got nothing but love for you, my guy. Thank you so much for being a part of what we are doing here with the Tipping Point with Mike Tipton. We are live on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, X, and of course on Roku with National Streaming Sports. Augustine saying, stop it. Just stop it. Why would I stop it? That's not my safe word. Jesus Christ. This show has gone off the rails. I apologize. Let me get it back. We're talking about the playoff picture. The Seahawks, Falcons, Cardinals, Niners, Cowboys, and Saints all have a shot, maybe, of making it into the playoffs, into the postseason in the NFC. Currently, right now, the way that the playoffs sit in the NFC is you have the three teams at the top. Lions, Eagles, Vikings. The Vikings, given all they've done this year, are the fifth seed, though. That means they would be the first team on the road. Imagine you're a 12-2 team right now, and you are in the same division with the Detroit Lions, who currently hold the tiebreaker over you. I believe they have another matchup coming up, so maybe that's where we can get things to look a little bit interesting. But how's that going to play out, right? One of those two teams, they could wind up ending the season with the exact same record. They could wind up being 13-3, both of them. And you'll have a 13-3 team as the fifth seed in the playoffs. And the way that it stands currently right now is you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as the 3 seed and the LA Rams at the fourth seed. Both those teams are 8-6. Both those teams having some pretty decent wins over the weekend. Tommy Cananza's safe word is pineapple, just for anyone out there to know. It's pineapple. You see Tommy Cananza out in the streets, let him know pineapple. And he'll be on your side. It'll be safe. Everything will be safe. I don't think I've ever developed a safe word. Probably says more about me than it does what you guys want to know then. My bad, guys. My bad. In the AFC, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. Obviously, they're 13-1 on the season. Best record in the NFL right now. How will that hold up with the Patrick Mahomes injury? Then we have the Buffalo Bills at 11-3. the Pittsburgh Steelers at 10-4, and the Houston Texans at 9-5. All 4 of those teams have clinched their playoff spot. They've basically all but clinched their division as well. The only division that's still up for grabs is going to be the NFC North with the Steelers and the Ravens. The Ravens currently right now the 5th seed, the Broncos the 6th, and the Chargers at the 7th seed. That's what makes things interesting in the playoffs right here is the amount of AFC West teams that are still in it. Those are all the teams, like basically just do what you got to do, win the games that you got to win, and you're in. This weekend, we get a great matchup. We finally get to determine if whether I'm right or Tommy was right. Whenever last week I had the the Ravens as my number 8 team, and he got mad at me for having them as an 8 seed instead of being, higher up on the list because of the loss that they had against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I will hold that loss against them. He said, well, what about the Cowboys beating these teams? Look, the Cowboys aren't good. They're not in the playoff picture. Real playoff picture. Real ballers know. Cowboys got no shot. I'm looking at the AFC West, and I love the way that division looks. The Broncos, the Chargers, both teams on the way up. The Broncos 9-5 on the season. The Ravens 9-5 on the season. The Chargers 8-6 on the season. Then you have 3 bubble teams. And these are the teams that I think 2 of them had expectations. Another one we kind of know isn't going to do a damn thing, right? Andrew Mendoza, thank you so much for tuning in, liking the live. I appreciate that as well. I like this thing where like TikTok shows you like people are liking and doing all that stuff. It's cool, right? But the Colts currently have a 10% chance of making it to the playoffs, and they're just not a good enough team. I look at the Dolphins, 7% chance. The Bengals, a 5% chance. I think we can say right now, unequivocally, those teams are out. Like they would need a catastrophe to happen in order to leapfrog teams to be able to make it into the playoffs. So I think the playoff picture is kind of looking the way that it is right now, except for where maybe Baltimore and Pittsburgh are going to line up. And that's going to be determined this weekend. So the AFC playoff picture can feasibly be set this week to where you don't have to worry about playing teams or playing players or doing any of that other nonsense, right? Like all you can do is just say, hey, we're good to go. Linda McGrath saying, good morning, Mike. Good morning to you, Linda. Good morning to Mac. Hope everything is going well over there where y'all are at. The one that's interesting is the playoff picture in the NFC. Now, we know the NFC North is going to have 3 teams. It's going to be the Lions, it's going to be the Vikings, and it's going to be the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers right now have an over 99% chance of making it to the playoffs. And there's a part of me that, you always have these divisions that are just so much better than everyone else, right? Right now, you got 3 teams in the AFC, but you look at them, Kansas City, obviously the cream of the crop. People are going to argue with that no matter what because Kansas City hasn't been looking great this year. They're still 13-1. Even with the Mahomes injury, they can drop all the way down to 13-4 if they lose the rest of the games that they have on the schedule and still host a playoff game in the first round. That's what really matters, right? Like get Mahomes in the first round, get Mahomes, and you're good in the playoffs. No team wants to face the Kansas City Chiefs at all. Not with that defense, not with Patrick Mahomes. Because we've seen this team time after time turn it on whenever they want to turn it on. It's frustrating, especially for old heads that don't know ball like me. It's frustrating for old heads like me to say, okay, they can just flip a switch, move the ball down the field, kick a field goal, and go on their happy little way. Awesome, right? Like that's such a beautiful thing to have and such a lucky thing to have. But then they have the combination of being lucky and good. A nightmare scenario if you're going to face this team. The Packers, the Vikings, and the Lions all have double-digit wins right now. The Packers are 10-4 on the season. 10-4 on the season. Andrew Mendoza saying his prediction is that Baltimore beats the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. Oh, wow. Having Baltimore go all the way to the AFC Championship game, I can see it happening in another universe. I don't see it happening this year. Their defense is just too bad. Like their defense is really bad. They would more than likely right now have to face the Texans. I think that would be a fun matchup, but I think the Texans can get them. But like, I really think the Texans can get the Ravens right now. You got 3 teams with double-digit wins in the NFC North, and it sucks. It sucks the way that we do the playoff seeding. I've hated it in the NBA. I've hated it in the NFL. I believe if you have whatever your record is, we should just have all the teams rated 1 through 14. Give the top 2 a bye or however you want to do it, and then have everyone else face each other, right? Get rid of the conferences, get rid of the division stuff. If you win your championship, awesome. The team gets a bonus. I don't care how we do it, what it is that we've got to do. I just don't like seeing a team that's going to be 12-2, or that's currently sitting at 12-2 right now, or another team that's sitting at 10-4 right now, have to go on the road while we reward a team that's 8-6. 2 teams that are 8-6 and can feasibly make the playoffs at 9-8 with a sub 500 record. We're giving these teams, because they won their crappy division, we're giving them more preference over teams that were actually really damn good. And that to me is such a disservice, right? Make the games mean something. Where your seeding is just 1 through 14, because there are 14 teams in the playoffs now, 1 through 14. Get rid of the divisions. Get rid of the conferences, right? You can have them just for whatever, but whenever it comes to the playoffs, a complete reset, and we go on our merry little way. Because I hate seeing the fact that we're going to have 2 teams that could end the season with more than 12 wins, possibly 13 wins each, and not get rewarded for it. Instead, we reward the team that can feasibly end the season at 9-8 and be in the playoffs. There's 2 teams that can do that. 2 teams that can end the season at 9-8 and still be in the playoffs. Or even 8-9 and still be in the playoffs. And it's just it's an asinine thing to think of, that those teams can be that bad and get to host a home playoff game. If it was the Dallas Cowboys, though, I'd be all about it. Like, I don't care how you get to the playoffs, just make it to the playoffs. I don't care, man. Come on. But we're looking at the other teams that are on the bubble right now. So we said that the Packers have a greater than 99% chance of making the playoffs. The Bucs have an 83% chance of making the playoffs. It's just because of how crappy their division is. The Rams have a 54% chance of making it, and the Commanders currently sit at 78%. Then we have the Seahawks and the Falcons at 36%, the Cardinals at 13%, the 49ers, Cowboys, and Saints all at just over 2% chance of making it to the playoffs. We can go ahead and write those teams off. The Niners, the Cowboys, and the Saints, let's write them off. They're done. They would need a miracle upon miracles and have the ability to get Mike McCarthy's fat ass walking on water. Also, be on the lookout for a parody I'm going to be doing on social media about the Dallas Cowboys head coach. That's coming out later on today. I'm an idiot, but it's a fun time. This weekend is going to wind up setting the table for what the playoffs are going to look like, right? This is going to be basically the ones where we can finally say goodbye to some of those teams that are in the playoff picture. And the way that it's looking right now is that for the number 1 overall pick, it's going to be between the Giants and the Raiders. You currently have 10 teams that are better than the Dallas Cowboys, 11 teams that are better than the Dallas Cowboys, where the Cowboys sit currently right now, which means if the draft were to start today, the Dallas Cowboys, based off of those stupid wins they had, like if they had just beaten Cincinnati, we're talking about a completely different thing here, but they didn't. Because of the wins that they had, the Dallas Cowboys are now going to be guaranteed to be outside of the top 10 pick. They will not get a top 10 pick. It is done. They have no chance of getting a top 10 pick. So where are they going to pick at right now? Anywhere between 11 and 15. If the Saints can find a way to win with Spencer Rattler or whoever the hell their quarterback is now, I don't think anyone knows. I think I saw a punter threw a touchdown pass and a wide receiver threw a touchdown pass. Like, the Saints are just in a bad place right now. But they're currently in a better place than the Dallas Cowboys when it comes to draft positioning. So frustrating with the Dallas Cowboys of what they did this year, how they basically crapped the bed the entire season, and then now want to reap the benefits of being a halfway decent team. What's going to happen with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens, that's going to be decided this week. I can't wait for this game. I think that that's going to be one of the more fun games that we get this weekend. I got to look at what the NFL schedule is. And we'll do that tomorrow because I don't think I have enough time right now. No, I've only got 4 minutes. So we'll do that tomorrow looking at the NFL schedule. It's just the Ravens and the Steelers basically have the only positions that can be flopped right now. If Pittsburgh wins, that's their division. They're done. Baltimore's done. They will be the 5th seed. Maybe there's a possibility of Baltimore falling all the way down to maybe the 7th seed, but I don't necessarily see that happen. Maybe they'd be the 6th seed. Jesse Carter saying the talent at the top 3 of both the conferences are the best they've had in a while. I'll agree that I think the AFC, though, is more balanced than what the NFC is. There are currently 3 playoff spots available in the AFC, 4 playoff spots available in the NFC, but the NFC is super top heavy. And I'll put Green Bay up there as well. But once you get past Green Bay, you have a host of teams that have 8 wins. And even the Commanders right now at 9 wins, you don't trust that team. Like, there's no way you can look at the Commanders right now and say, that's a team that I think is going to be great, that I think is going to be able to do something in the playoffs. I don't. I see a lot of chinks in the armor. Being able to barely squeak out a win over the New Orleans Saints says more about the Washington Commanders than I think all their wins this season did. Because remember, they got super lucky. Super lucky. It was Hail Marys. It was last-second field goals. It was a lot of the stuff that we kill the Kansas City Chiefs about is how the Washington Commanders won their games earlier this season. Because of their ability to lose games that they shouldn't lose, that's the only way that the Dallas Cowboys still have a shot of making it to the playoffs. All right, everybody, I want to thank you so much for tuning in to today's show. Tomorrow, we're going to go over our top 10 teams. Maybe we get our power bottom teams in the NFL as well. We'll see how it goes. TikTok, I'm probably going to go live on TikTok again. I liked the back and forth here, despite some people saying, you don't know ball. I don't. Maybe I just don't. I'm just some guy. I don't know how I got to be able to do this stuff. I sound good. That's it. That's the only redeeming quality I have. All right, everybody, we will see you tomorrow. Remember this message from our friends over at Happy Nuts. Oh, hello. I'm Mike Tipton. I want to tell you about the perfect gift this holiday season. The Bulber's dual-sided ergonomic design allows it to go both ways, meaning you can shave in either direction. The slim shape is optimal for trimming those hard-to-reach areas. It's also nut-safe, providing a 30-degree pivoting blade that is engineered for nut keeping. Say goodbye to the cuts, nicks, pulling, tugging, and snaps. If you're looking for stamina, it's got exactly what you need. With its long-lasting lithium rechargeable battery, it can last up to 150 minutes on one charge. The Bulber is IPX7 waterproof, which means it can have fun, dry, or wet. Visit www.myhappynuts.com/Mike Tipton to give your man the perfect package for his package.